What is up, everyone? Vidya here, and it's that time of year again. That special season that every little gamer looks forward to at the end of the year. That's right, it is time once more for the Golden Keeleys, formerly known as the Game Awards. That's right, every gamer's favorite award show is quickly drawing near, and just earlier today, they dropped their nominees for all 29 categories. So I wanted to make a quick video, go through, give my predictions to what I think will win, but also lock in my own personal choices as well. So without further ado, let's jump into it. I got the website pulled up over here, and of course, the very first pick is Game of the Year, and our 6 options are Claire Obscure Expedition 33, Death Stranding 2, On the Beach, Donkey Kong Bonanza, Hades 2, Hollow Knight Silk Song, and Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. Now, what I will say off rip is this is pretty much the lineup I expected. I feel like this is the lineup really anyone should have expected. All right. The main four I 100% knew were going to be here: E33, Death Stranding 2, Donkey Kong, and Silk Song. 100% knew those were going to be here. No doubt in my mind. Um, Hades 2 and Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, those last two spots, I was kind of iffy on what would fill the gaps, but Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 absolutely makes sense. I've seen a lot of love for it on my timeline, so I'm not surprised to see it up here. Hades 2, I haven't heard a lot about, honestly, since it's come out. I haven't heard anything negative about it, but I haven't heard a lot of praise of it either, but I'm not surprised. Honestly, Hades 1 made big waves. It was well loved. I'm not surprised the sequel has been performing well as well. Um, but what I will say is that while there are 6 nominees, let's be honest here, this year's game of the year is really a battle between two games. It's between Expedition 33 and Silk Song. All right? I was thinking at the beginning of the year, earlier this year, when Rockstar announced that they were delaying GTA 6 to next year instead of releasing it this year, I'm like, man, those Expedition 33 devs, they got to be breathing a sigh of relief, right? Because now they got a real chance at locking down Game of the Year. And this was before I had even played the game myself, right? At this point, I hadn't even played the game. There had just been so much hype around it by that point that I was like, man, it's got a great shot. And then as the months went on, I'm like, man, there's other good games coming out, but none of them are making the waves that Expedition 33 is. They've practically got this shit on lock. And then of course not too long ago, in the later half of this year, Team Cherry finally dropped the highly anticipated Hollow Knight Silk Song, a game so many people have been waiting so long for, and from what I've heard, it's everything they've wanted. The people who were genuinely waiting for this game, I've heard a lot of people who like jumped on it, right? Because it was like the trend, it was the new thing, and there was a lot of whining about it because of difficulty or whatever. But the fans of the actual game who have been waiting a long time for the sequel are absolutely thrilled by it. I have several friends of my own who were big Hollow Knight fans who have been absolutely loving Silk Song. So I feel like this is really the only challenger here for Expedition 33. Not knocking any of these games, not knocking anyone who's would maybe pick one of these other ones as their personal favorite. By all means, I encourage you to go vote for your own personal favorites for sure. But let's be real here. If we're talking like what's realistically going to come out on top, it's one of these two, right? Now, my personal prediction for what I think is taking home game of the year, I think it's a narrow margin. I think there's a chance I am wrong, but I would give it to Expedition 33. I feel like the most likely shot is Expedition 33, but when I say most likely, I'd say we're looking at like a 55 to 45 kind of split here. Like I think there is a very good chance that Silksong just has enough motion to where it does take that title from it. I think it is very possible, but I feel like Expedition 33 has just made so many waves within the gaming sphere. Whereas Silksong, yes, it was highly anticipated, but I feel like the audience that were waiting for it, while they were very loud and vocal about it, I feel like they were a bit of a smaller audience than to the one that Expedition 33 has brought in for itself. That's my personal take on it anyway. I could be dead wrong, right? But I personally think my personal prediction for what's going to come out on top is Expedition 33. I think it's going to be a close one. I will not be surprised. I won't be mad at all if Silksong takes it. I feel like it's definitely earned it. And but quite honestly, I feel like it's the only one that's really going to challenge Expedition 33. Now, as for my personal vote, I've only played one of these games. And as I'm sure you've heard me say already, it's Expedition 33, and I've loved it. I've loved every minute, every second of it. I think it's phenomenal. It gets my vote, 110%. All right, category number 2 is Best Game Direction. Now, for Best Game Direction, we have 3 of our Game of the Year nominees, as well as Ghost of Yote and Split Fiction. Now, Game Direction is one I kind of don't know how to vote for, to be perfectly honest with you. I don't know lock in all right, game direction. I know what that means. I'm willing to admit when I'm a bit stupid, all right? So, but what I'm really looking for at what I'm really looking at in this little blurb here is outstanding creative vision. Creative, right? Hades 2, to be honest, I don't know what it's done to differentiate from the previous game. I haven't really seen people talk about that, but then again, I haven't seen a lot of talk about it in general. So I don't know. To me personally, it seems like it's just the same game, but slightly tweaked better. So I wouldn't really define that as creative. The game may be, good. I'm not saying that means the game's bad. I don't believe that at all. But I don't know if I would assign it creative. Ghost of Yote, to be honest, I haven't heard the greatest things about. And not just because it got attacked by, the fucking incel gamers who are like, oh my god, woman, but genuinely the people who have bought it and tried it, I've seen kind of mixed things about. I don't know if I would quite assign it a creative game. Now, while I don't like a lot of things Kojima puts out, I can't deny he's a very creative individual. I'll give him that. I feel like creative and innovative are definitely titles you could apply to him. Whether or not you like what he does, obviously that's going to differ person to person, but I'm willing to say this one's in the running. Um Split Fiction. Now, I would consider a lot of the games that Hazelight Studios puts out very creative, right? For one, and especially innovative too, because they really work in an area that not a lot of people go for. Sure, there's multiplayer games, but games that are specifically made to be a co-op experience. Other previous games they've made, like It Takes Two, A Way Out, Brothers, these games that are purposefully made to be a co-op experience, you don't see that's not a category a lot of people are going for. And I'm pretty sure they won a Game of the Year award. I'm pretty sure It Takes Two won Game of the Year, if I'm not mistaken. So clearly, there's a demand for it, but I feel like not a lot of people are willing to jump into that and chase them down that, right? When something's incredibly popular, you'll get a lot of people trying to chase that thing, trying to emulate that thing and be that thing. Hazelight Studios, I feel, really stands on their own with the direction they've gone with their games, and I would absolutely label them as creative and innovative, and I think Split Fiction is no exception to that. Um, and with Claire Obscure, I will say I think it's a very creative game. I think it's a very creative game. Innovative, not so much. I'm not one of the, now, while I did love Expedition 33, I'm not one of these people who's going to absolutely glaze it and say it's groundbreaking, it's genre defining, it's treading new ground that gamers have never seen before, because I know that's bullshit. All right? I know it's bullshit because even before I ever played the game, plenty of people were pointing out no, here's what's inspired this mechanic in the game. Here's what inspired this portion of the game. You can very clearly see where the devs have taken inspiration from, and the devs themselves have come out and said we've been inspired by this game and by this game. So genuinely, while I think it's a very creative game, I wouldn't quite put it in the same category as innovative, right? So as much as I hate to say it, I'd feel like Death Stranding would be more deserving of this than Expedition 33 would, genuinely. So my prediction as to what I think will win, I think it's a toss up between Split Fiction and Death Stranding 2. I feel like those are the ones that really hit home. Um, I suppose there is a chance that Expedition 33 takes it just because of how many fans it's got and how they're just gonna vote for it regardless, right? But me personally, I feel like it should go to either Split Fiction or Death Stranding 2. My personal vote, I think I am going to throw it to Split Fiction, to Hazelight Studios. I didn't play it. Now let me be clear, I didn't play this game. I did catch a few streams of other creators, playing it, but outside of that, I did not play this game. But I know what Hazelight Studios does, and even just from what I've seen, it's a very creative game. It's continued to build on the genre that Hazelight kind of dominates. So I got to give it a Split Fiction. All right, next category is Best Narrative, Outstanding Storytelling, and Narrative Development. And we have three of our Game of the Year nominees, as well as Ghost of Yote, and a new entry to the list, Silent Hill F. Obviously, the only story here I really know is Expedition 33. Um, from what I have heard, I do have friends who have played Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, and I've heard good things about it, specifically the narrative itself. Death Stranding 2, I've heard decent things about the narrative. Uh, Ghost of Yote, I haven't really heard much narrative wise. Like I said, I've been hearing a lot of mixed things, quite honestly, about Ghost of Yote, so I'm not too sure about that one. And Silent Hill F, I haven't really heard much about. Genuinely, all I really know about Silent Hill F is there's a good amount of technical and performance issues it has with it. I know a lot of like diehard Silent Hill fans don't like the direction it's gone. They don't specifically like the combat. They're not a big fan of it. Um, I know there's been a lot of love for the main voice actress because she's been streaming the game and she's been very silly and people have liked that. Um, but as far as the actual narrative goes, I've had several friends play it and no one has really mentioned anything specifically about the narrative. And even just from what I see online, I haven't seen a lot of talk about the narrative. So, really, I feel like the strong contenders here, obviously, the big one is going to be Expedition 33. That's the one people are expecting. I feel like strong contenders against Expedition 33 are potentially Death Stranding 2 or Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. I feel like this is probably their biggest challenger, but ultimately I do feel like this one goes to Expedition 33. Like the story specifically is one of like the key aspects that people are hyping up about Expedition 33, and for very good reason. As someone who has played it, I think it's fucking phenomenal. And maybe if I played one of these other games, I'd have a different opinion. But ultimately, my prediction and my personal pick are going to go to Expedition 33. Next up is Best Art Direction. Now, our five nominees are four of our Game of the Year nominees, as well as Ghost of Yote. Again, it's kind of strange how Ghost of Yote got. I saw this already, but Ghost of Yote got 7 award nominations and not Game of the Year. I feel like that's kind of telling, right? Like, of all the, like, yeah, no, I guess you're good at art direction. I'm like, oh, but are they in the Game of the Year discussion? No, no, no. I feel like that alone is kind of telling that the mixed reviews I've kind of been seeing of Ghost of Yote are pretty genuine because like people are saying, "Oh yeah, it's kind of it's good enough for like this subcategory," but to say it's like one of the best games this year, hard no. Apparently, apparently it's hard pass, even though it's gotten more nominations than some of these other games. But that aside, I guess. What do I expect to win? Obviously, the two you're gonna have to look out for because of their big fan bases are Expedition 33 and Silk Song. Me personally, the way I vote, all right, I wouldn't necessarily consider games that chase photorealism as great art direction. Me personally, I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing, but I would not praise a game like that for its art direction. I know it says in here they like or technical achievement, which you could consider the most photorealistic thing a big technical achievement, right? I'm looking for creative. I'm looking for something truly artistic, right? So for that reason, I think my preferred prediction is it's going to Silk Song, right? The way I'd vote, as much as I love Expedition 33, it does go for the photorealistic vibes, right? It is this fantastical world, right? the world itself is very gorgeous and beautiful and whatnot, but it still is going for a more photorealistic approach. Obviously, Death Stranding 2, absolutely, Ghost of Yotei as well. They go for the photorealism thing, right? That's the direction they're trying to chase. Like I said, I don't think that's a bad thing. This is my fucking game of the year pick, right? So it's like, obviously, I don't think that's a bad thing. But I feel like the ones that truly deserve it here are Hades 2 and Silksong. When it comes to art, I'm feeling like Hades 2 and Silksong are both very strong entries, both very deserving. Me personally, if I'm going to pick, I'm gonna have to go for Silksong, quite honestly. Like I said, loved Expedition 33, but if I'm thinking what's the creative and artistic choice, I feel like it's gotta go to Silksong. Our next category is Best Score and Music. And once again, we have four of our Game of the Year nominees, as well as Ghost of Yotei. Now, once again, you got to look out for the two heavy hitters here. They're large fan bases as far as what I predict is going to come out on top. My final prediction, though, is it's going to Expedition 33. My personal vote is that it can only go to Expedition 33. Genuinely, if anything else wins this, it got robbed. All right. Now, I know you're going to say I'm biased because it's the game I played. I didn't get to experience any of these other soundtracks. Sure. Here's the thing. I'm not saying that any of these other games don't have good soundtracks. I'm sure they do, right? They're in the category. They probably have a decent soundtrack, right? But here's the thing. I don't think I've seen any of these games praised for their soundtrack. Silksong is maybe the only other game I've seen actually praised for its soundtrack. All these other games, I haven't heard anything negative about their soundtracks, but like when people are discussing them, well, I mean, to be fair, I haven't really heard much discussion around Hades 2 in general, but at least with these games, with Ghost of Yotei and Death Stranding 2, when people are discussing them, I've never heard the soundtrack, the score, the music, anything like that be brought up. Whereas when I talk to other people about Expedition 33, other people who have played it, genuinely the first thing they always bring up to me is the soundtrack, right? The first person I knew personally who played it was my own brother, and I remember when he was, trying to recommend it to me, when he was recommending it to me, one of the first things he said is like, "Bro, the soundtrack in this game, fucking killer, amazing." And then, one of the guys, once I started playing it, I recommended it to someone else I knew, and he said he was going to check it out. A few days later, he comes back to me. He says, "Bro, I started playing that game. And, bro, I got to say, I'm having a blast with it. But, dude, that fucking soundtrack." And I'm like, "I know, bro. It's fucking killer." And that's just the people I know in person, right? Online, this is one of the key selling points of this game. I swear to God, anyone you talk to about this game is going to mention the fact that the soundtrack is fucking amazing. So, to me personally, I feel like it can be no other choice. Genuinely. I mean, we can argue all day about what's the better game, what should win game of the year and whatnot. When it comes to soundtrack, I'm not listening to any other arguments because I'm too busy listening to this soundtrack. All right. Next category is Best Audio Design. And our nominees are two of our Game of the Year nominees, along with Ghost of Yotei, Silent Hill F, and Battlefield 6. That category title speaks for itself, how well the sound is designed within the game. This is once again one that I kind of struggle with because it's an aspect of games that I don't pay very close attention to, me personally. Battlefield 6, when I look through the tweets, I did look through the tweets on the official Game Awards account just to kind of see what other people's feedback were and whatnot, right? I saw a lot of people laughing at the fact Battlefield 6 was nominated. Right? I saw a lot of people saying like, "No, like bro, I couldn't even hear footsteps approach me while I was playing this game." I don't think it goes to Battlefield 6. All right? I will say one of the key aspects I have seen praised about Death Stranding 2 is its audio design. I've heard very good things about that. Ghost of Yotei, it's not really something I hear brought up. Silent Hill F, once again, it's not really. I hear more mixed things about Silent Hill F. I've heard less about the game itself and more so about people having issues playing it, or they're talking about the voice actors streaming it. I really don't hear much about the game itself, and that kind of goes with the audio and sound design. No one's really talked to me about what they think of the actual sound design of the game. And Expedition 33, as someone who has played it, obviously, I mean, like I said, I personally, it's not something I pay the closest attention to, but there's nothing about it that's offended me in any way, right? So this is one's kind of a tough category for me because genuinely, I don't know, because it's just one of those categories where I just really don't have a horse in the race. If a game doesn't sound awful, then I'm okay with it, right? So I think, what do I expect to come out on top? I think it will be Death Stranding 2, because even from what I've seen of other people online, I don't see people mention audio design specifically as one of the key things that Expedition 33 really excels in, whereas that is like one of the key components to what I've seen people say about Death Stranding 2. So what I expect to win, my prediction of what takes this category is Death Stranding 2. I'm still gonna put my vote in Expedition 33 just because I'm not a fan of Kojima games, and I'm sorry. I'm Even if you're probably the more deserving winner, I'm not gonna vote for you. I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to give it to Expedition 33, me personally. Next up is Best Performance. Now, this category has caused a bit of discourse on the old social medias. Now, only one Game of the Year nominee is represented on this list, and is represented 3 times over. That's kind of been the source of the discourse. And the other games represented are Ghost of Yotei, Silent Hill F, and Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. Now, well, I have seen a lot of discourse about this because people are saying no one game should be dominating half the fucking nominees, right? And to that I say I do understand the criticism in that, and goddamn, Ben Starr is truly staring into my soul. No, but I do understand people's criticism with that. My thing is that not a lot of people are offering a lot of alternatives, right? Um, Not a lot of people are saying they shouldn't be that way. There's been better performances. To that I say, okay, what do you suggest then? What do you suggest should be up there? There's been one strong answer, and that's come from the Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 fans who say Tom McKay, I believe is his name, who voiced Henry, I believe is the name of the character. I apologize if I got any of that wrong. I don't know. I believe those are the names. That's one I've seen people going hard for. That's one of people saying like, nah, this guy specifically got robbed. This was a phenomenal performance. You nominated the game for Game of the Year, like, and this was a phenomenal performance within that game. It should be represented up here. That's the one thing. I feel like that's like the one strong alternative people have offered to where like, okay, maybe we could take Charlie Cox off the list. All right. And I will say, as someone who's played Expedition 33, I feel like maybe we should take Charlie Cox off the list. Ben Starr deserves to be up here 110%. Honestly, I would even, and honestly, Jennifer English too. I feel like the characters of Verso and Mael are forever stuck with me because of these two amazing performances. And genuinely, I've seen a lot of people joking, being like, actually, it should be 4. Where's Andy Serkis? And they're right. And they're right. Andy Serkis as Renoir in Expedition 33 is fucking fantastic. Fucking amazing. One of my favorite antagonists, genuinely. Charlie Cox, he did good. Gustav's a great character. Charlie Cox is a great actor. But I feel like we could maybe swap him out, right? I do agree that having 3 is a bit much, even though he did a good job. However, if this was Andy Serkis, I'd be a lot more reluctant to agree with you, right? And also, one criticism I've seen of this is that people say Troy Baker should not be up here for Indiana Jones. Instead, he should be actually nominated for the Game of the Year nominee that he was also a part of. Because, and that's the thing, I do kind of agree, because I'm sure dude did a killer job with Indiana Jones, right? I kind of feel like they nominated him for Indiana Jones just so Jeff Keighley has an excuse to fucking bring Harrison Ford back to the fucking award show. Quite honestly, because that's the thing. I've made it known that I'm not a fan of Kojima games, right? I have no intention of ever playing a Death Stranding game. I have no intention of ever watching someone's playthrough of a Death Stranding game. But the fact that I know that Troy Baker voices a character named Higgs already speaks to the fact that people have been praising his performance as that character, because otherwise, why the hell would I know the name of the character? But I do know he voices that character, and in the replies of the tweet that the Game Awards made about best performance, people are saying, why not Higgs? Why Indiana Jones? People are saying like, we like Troy Baker, sure, but why this role? Some people feel like it's even sabotaging him because it's not his Death Stranding 2 role, right? So as for what I expect to win, what's my prediction? I feel like it's a tough one. I feel like a lot of people are going to be upset about there being 3 Expedition 33 reps and wanting to vote against that. And I feel like Troy Baker is a very likely candidate to receive those kind of votes because Troy Baker himself is already a well known and iconic voice actor within the video game industry. And then the fact that Expedition 33 has 3 different choices to choose from is going to somewhat divide the Expedition 33 fan base. So honestly, I don't know for sure if this is a clean sweep for Expedition 33. I feel like I feel like the 2 heavy hitters that it's going to come down to is Troy Baker as the big heavy hitter, just because, like I said, iconic, well known, and the people who are mad about this are going to probably lean towards him because they know who he is and they'd expect a great performance out of him regardless. I feel like your other big hitter you got to look out for is Ben Starr here. All right. Not only was he in Expedition 33, not only did he do a phenomenal job in Expedition 33, but he himself has also built up quite a following over these last few years. Um, Obviously, he made big waves when he voiced Clive in Final Fantasy 16. Was it 16? I think it was 16. And he's just been building up quite a following since then. Very charismatic and charming guy. People love Ben Starr. People have really started to love Ben Starr. So I feel like he's probably the biggest one you got to look out for. Now, I will say, I feel like Jennifer English did a phenomenal job as Mael. I feel like she 100% deserves this nomination. Like I said, Charlie Cox, great actor, did a good job as Gustav. Gustav's a great character. I feel like he's less likely to be up there. Kanatsu Kato here. Obviously, people have been talking about her streams online, about how she's very silly, very funny. People have very much been enjoying her energy. I'm sure she's definitely going to get quite a few fan votes. And while I haven't played the game, I'm sure she deserves her spot. Erika Ishii, while I am a fan of Erika from seeing her on Dropout, like as a comedian, as far as her performance in Ghost of Yote, I haven't heard the greatest things about it. Now, obviously, that's you kind of got to take it with a grain of salt because Ghost of Yote got targeted by the anti-woke crowd and whatnot. So I feel like your big ones to look out for are Baker and Starr. Now, as for me personally, who I would be voting for, it's going to be Ben Starr. I love Mael. I really do. And it is a tough one. I really fucking hate that the Game of Awards has forced me to pick between Verso and Mael. If you know, you know. Ultimately, I feel like I've got to go with Ben Starr, though. I feel like his performance as Verso is just barely ekes it out over Miss English. But like I said, I feel like they're both absolutely deserving, but I am going to have to give it to Ben Starr. All right, innovation and accessibility. I got to be honest, once again, this is a category I'm not really in tune with. As someone who doesn't need accessibility options within their games, it's not something I'm too aware of. I don't think it's a bad category by any means. Absolutely. Like games that are very accessible for others should be praised and should be awarded. I'm all for that, but it's just one of those categories I know jack shit about. They do have learned about the nominees tab, which I'm kind of interested about that. And oh hey, the website's not loading. Awesome. Way to go, Keely. You're killing it. Um, okay, it looks like it's actually loading now. So while I wait for that to load anyway, what I will say is Let's look at our options. Oh wait, meet the innovation accessibility nominees. Go ahead, tell me about them. Let's see what we got here. Okay, so after reading through all of that, I don't know if I'm actually going to keep that in the video or whatnot, but I did read through that. I guess if you want to check it out for yourself, gameawards.com/news/meet the innovation in accessibility nominees. If you want to read through all that for yourself to see what sets them apart. Long story short, I did not read Assassin's Creed Shadows because fuck Ubisoft. I did not read EA Sports FC 26 because fuck EA. The big two are Atom Fall and South of Midnight. For what I predict will win, honestly, I think it's just going to come down to which game has the most motion, which game has the bigger fan base, because I feel this just isn't a category that a lot of people voting are going to really pay attention to. So, what do I predict will win? Probably Doom. It's probably going to be Doom. And from what I read, that's not a terrible win. But from what I read, that from the several paragraphs that went into what makes these games actually accessible, I feel like it should actually go to either Atom Fall or South of Midnight. So what I'm going to vote me personally, I'm going to go for South of Midnight simply because that's a game I want to play myself. It's something I've wishlisted that I do want to check out at some point. So that's where my vote's going to go. Next category is Games for Impact. For a thought provoking game with a pro social meaning or message, our nominees are the previously mentioned South of Midnight, along with Consume Me, Despelote, Lost Records Bloom and Rage, and Wanderstop. Now two of these games I haven't even heard of before. That's Consume Me and Despelote, so I really don't know. So I don't know how they lean into it. I mean, already I can tell by this one having a Hispanic sounding name, and clearly it's Hispanic, as you can tell, as worked on by Julian Cordero, Sebastian Valbuena. Like, okay, I kind of see where pro social's coming into it. Consume Me, I don't know anything about it, but it's up here, and I imagine it deserves to be up here. South of Midnight, I have heard good things about it in the context of pro social meaning or message. Wanderstop, while I have heard good things about the game itself, specifically as far as a game for impact goes, as in pro social meaning or message, I haven't really seen that brought up all too much. And then, of course, last but not least, is certainly Lost Records Bloom and Rage, which is the one game on this list that I have actually played because it was made by the original creators of the Life is Strange series. Absolutely adore those games. And I mean, if you've played those games, you know those games have always leaned into a pro social meaning or message, right? They definitely live up to what Games for Impact is trying to praise and award. And Lost Records Bloom and Rage is no different. I mean, obviously, as you can probably tell from the cover, a big part of it, a big core message is essentially like girl power. I'm sure there's a more eloquent way to put that, but that's kind of like the big part of it. Also leans into breaking gender norms and whatnot. One of the characters, I won't say who, has a specific illness that I feel like was, as someone who's had a similar illness, I feel like was handled very well and treated with a lot of respect, and really felt like a genuine telling of how someone with that illness would act and respond to the various situations they're placed in. I honestly can't say enough good about Lost Records Bloom and Rage. Genuinely, me personally, it's up there as one of my all-time favorites that came out this year. I understand why it didn't make Game of the Year, simply because it did not have, the motion that the other six games did. But me personally, I would put it up there. I would 110% put it up there. I feel like the voice actress for Kat, I apologize for not remembering their name. But the voice actress for Kat did such a phenomenal fucking job with that character. I feel like if that, me personally, when we go back to, like I said, with the best performance discourse of like, hey, if you're going to complain about all these voice actors, throw out your suggestion, dude. Let me look her name up. Let me look her name up. Natalie LaConte. Their name is Natalie LaConte. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. But Natalie LaConte, who did the voice of Kat in Lost Records Bloom and Rage, if I could fucking throw an alternative out there, I would absolutely fucking nominate her. She's so fucking phenomenal. That performance has definitely stuck with me. What do I predict will win? Now obviously you can tell where my vote's going to go for it. It's going to go to Lost Records. But what do I predict will win? I feel like it's a toss up between these two. This one did get a bit of traction, all right, so I feel like there's a chance. But the thing that gives Lost Records a bit of a boost is that it's developed by Don't Nod Montreal, which are the original creators behind the Life is Strange series. So it has, the core fan base of Life is Strange really backing it up, because a lot of Life is Strange fans really checked out this game and from what I've seen online really enjoyed it. And typically, in the past, from what I remember anyway, maybe I'm wrong, I'm pretty sure like the Don't Nod Life is Strange games have won this specific category when they've been nominated. I'm almost certain the first Life is Strange game won when it was nominated. I know it was nominated. And then I'm almost certain that Life is Strange 2 was also nominated and also won its category. So it genuinely would not surprise me at all if Lost Records did actually take home the win. So yeah, but obviously, locking in my vote, it's Lost Records. Next up is Best Ongoing Game. Awarded to a game for outstanding development of ongoing content that evolves the player experience over time. And our nominations are Final Fantasy XIV, Fortnite, Helldivers 2, Marvel Rivals, and No Man's Sky. Um, Now I feel like all of these are solid picks. Final Fantasy XIV and Fortnite are kind of like the big strong ones because they got the massive fan bases, right? Marvel Rivals has been making a very good name for itself over the last year, though. No Man's Sky, obviously widely beloved just because of the amount of free updates and free content they provide to their players. Helldivers 2, I'll be honest, within this last year, I haven't really heard a lot about. Like in the previous year, oh yeah, it was everywhere, right? In fact, did it not win like best multiplayer? I'm sure it must have. But yeah, this year, as far as like what I would consider the best ongoing, I would, if I'm going to vote for a best ongoing game, I don't play any of these. I did play Marvel Rivals when it first dropped, but it's not something I really kept up with. So I really don't have a dog in this fight. But if I'm going to vote for a best ongoing game, I'm going to vote for something that in the present day, in the current day, has been, making waves for doing good things, right? That has been, praised in recent times, right? So here's the thing, Final Fantasy 14, I don't know, as far as I know, they haven't done anything recently that I know of. Like I have a friend who plays Final Fantasy 14 and he plays like he's totally caught up with all the expansions and whatnot. He loves the game. So like I figured if Final Fantasy 14 had done anything, like I would have heard about it. Done anything like really significant that was worthy of praise, I would have heard about it. Fortnite, I haven't really heard anything praiseworthy of it. Like it keeps putting stuff out. Sure, it's still got a large following, but like what has it really done recently? I don't know. Marvel Rivals, I've been hearing a lot of good things about. Fans have really been enjoying the characters that have been added to the game. As far as I can tell, I haven't heard anyone like complain about any new characters that have been added or any updates that nerfed or buffed certain characters and whatnot. Obviously, there's always going to be people who complain about it, but like nothing that the community as a whole comes together against. Like, I've heard pretty much nothing but good things about this game. And No Man's Sky, same thing. Like, it has received praise this year for the same reason it always receives praise, is because they drop a big ass fucking update that they're like, yep, here's all this new content, totally free, enjoy. And I think that's pretty fucking cool of them. So, as far as what I predict will win, I feel like you got to look out for these two as heavy hitters with massive fan bases. And I think because of that, there's a very good chance you see one of those two take it. What I'll personally vote for, I think, has to go to either Rivals or No Man's Sky, and I think simply because of how much they do, how much Hello Games does for free. Like I gotta give them my vote. Marvel Rivals does good, and obviously the characters themselves are free, but there's still a lot of microtransactions and whatnot within the game. But then again, the game itself is free, whereas No Man's Sky, you do pay for the base game, but then everything else is free. So I don't know. I feel like I got to give it to No Man's Sky. They are still to this day getting praise and just have never once in all these years really lost their core player base. So you know what? They're gonna get my vote. Next up is best community support, which kind of ties into ongoing game, if you ask me. As you can see, as you can see, four of the nominees from ongoing game are here, as well as Baldur's Gate 3. I'm kind of surprised is that has Baldur's Gate 3 gotten a big update in recent times to where it would be here for 2025? I mean, maybe it has. I genuinely don't know. That one kind of catches me off guard. Because, like, yeah, no, I feel like Larian has been, great with their community over the years. Did did they do something recently? But then again, like these three are here, and then like I said, in ongoing games, I haven't really heard anything about these three either. So I mean, huh. So I guess you kind of already know where my vote's gonna go because with these four, I haven't heard anything in recent times. I don't think that makes them bad community support in any means, but just I haven't heard any real word of praise about them during 2025, if I'm being perfectly honest. Whereas, like I said previously, No Man's Sky has. So I guess there's my vote. But as to what I predict will win, once again, heavy hitters with massive fan bases, Final Fantasy 14, Fortnite, more than likely. Um, Baldur's Gate 3, it does have a strong following. Obviously, it won Game of the Year when it was nominated. Um, there's a chance. I feel like these are the three you're more likely to see. Probably one of these two. But like I said, my vote's going to go to No Man's Sky because that's just the one that makes sense to me. All right, next up is Best Independent Game for outstanding creative and technical achievement in a game made outside the traditional publisher system. Three of our Game of the Year nominees return to the list with Expedition 33, Hades 2, and Silk Song, along with Blueprints, Ball X, Pit, and Absolum. Now, aside from our Game of the Year nominees, I have seen some stuff about Blueprints. I've seen a lot of love for it. Doesn't look like a game I personally would be all that interested in, but I have seen a lot of praise for it. Balex Pit is definitely a more recent one that I've seen a few videos on from other creators. Once again, not really my kind of thing because it kind of falls into like the roguelike thing that these do. But I've seen a lot of love for it. I've never heard of Absolum. I'm gonna be totally honest with you. Strong prediction. I don't think it's gonna win. Um, not that I'm trying to imply it's a bad game or anything. I'm not saying that at all. Genuinely, no shade to the developers or those who enjoy it. I've just never heard of it. Obviously, I feel like what we're going to expect to win out of this category is one of these three, and more specifically, one of these two. Once again, best independent game is just a reskin of Game of the Year, if we're being totally honest. It's a big showdown between Expedition 33 and Silk Song. I feel like this one might turn the tables a little bit. I do think Game of the Year overall, I think Expedition 33 takes it. This one I feel is like a true 50-50 because I feel like a lot of people will look at best indie and not feel like Expedition 33 deserves it. I feel like this playing field is a bit more even, just based on how people define the word indie in a game, right? I've seen a lot of people online like say shit like, you know, I understand Expedition 33 is technically an indie game, but I kind of feel like it doesn't count. I feel like it's like in like this middle ground between indie and AAA. Like it shouldn't count as an independent game. And like to an extent, I do kind of understand where they come from, but at the end of the day, it is still an independent game, and I feel like it definitely deserves the spot. But I feel like because of people's you know definition of independent game and how strong indie gamers feel about praising what they might consider true indie games or whatever, I feel like these two are actually on a more level playing field in this category specifically. Um, so I truly feel like it's a coin flip as to whether Expedition 33 or Silk Song takes it. I'm leaning a bit more towards Silk Song with Independent, though. I will say, specifically Independent game, I'm leaning more towards Silk Song. But obviously, as it's the only game I've played on the list, I'm going to vote for Expedition 33. All right, next up is specifically Best Debut Indie Game for the best debut game created by a new independent studio. Now we have one single Game of the Year nominee, as well as Blueprints, Despelote, Dispatch, and Megabonk. So I'm actually kind of surprised. Despelote must have made more waves than I realized. I guess no one around me has played it. Because that's the thing. Like, I have friends and people I follow online who play games that I typically wouldn't, or play smaller games that might not hit my radar. I've genuinely not heard of this game, but I've heard of all the other games on this list, which is kind of surprising. Um, so obviously, what do I predict will win? It's Expedition 33. Though I will say these other games that I do know have a pretty strong dedicated fan base, right? Dispatch, it really depends on your sense of humor, but for those that align with what the game goes for, it's fucking great. Megabonk, it got a lot of love when it first debuted. So obviously, what do I expect will win? It's gonna be Expedition 33. Like, I'm sorry, the rest of y'all, but you got lumped in with one of the Game of the Year nominees. Like, it's very likely it's gonna be Expedition 33. But obviously, my vote's gonna go to Expedition 33. It's the one game I played. I do plan on playing Dispatch eventually. This is a game I will play. I'm very much looking forward to it. But that's the thing, even what I know about this game, about it being from a studio that's formed by former Telltale employees and how it's really a spiritual successor to the classic Telltale formula, I feel like even if I played this, Expedition 33 would still be my pick of this lot. Next up is Best Mobile Game. Our nominees are Destiny Rising, Persona 5, The Phantom X, Sonic Rumble, Uma Musume Pretty Derby, and Wuthering Waves. I don't play mobile games really. Um, Destiny Rising. I No, I know someone who has played it and they did say good things about it, but that's the thing. I've only heard the one person though. I haven't really heard a lot about it. Persona 5 The Phantom X, genuinely the only thing I know about it was the fucking Subway Slammer memes when that was like the big thing. People talking about the Subway Slammer. Like, that's all I know about this game. Otherwise, I've heard no one fucking talk about this game. Also, like, Jesus, Sega, can we stop milking Persona 5? Please. Please. I love Persona 5. I'm a huge fan of Persona 5. Can we stop milking Persona 5, please? Sonic Rumble. Honestly, I've not heard great things about Sonic Rumble. I'm gonna be perfectly honest with you. I've heard that it's kind of ass. So, I don't know. Take that as you will. Maybe I've just been hearing from the haters, but Uma Musume is the one game here that I have played, and I think it's fucking phenomenal. And then Wuthering Waves. I've heard of the game, and I know it's got a strong player base, but God, I just have not really heard anything about the game itself. So, what do I expect will win? I feel like it's gonna be Uma Musume. Uma Musume has been making pretty massive waves. Like, that's the thing. Streamers, been seeing streamers start playing this and fucking fall in love with it, right? I don't see random streamers pick up Sonic Rumble because they're like, oh, let's check out the mobile Sonic game. I don't see streamers pick up. The only reason I saw streamers pick up Persona 5, the fucking mobile game, is because of the goddamn Subway Slammer memes. It was because people were like, oh, I gotta see where Subway Slammer comes from. With any of these other titles, I haven't seen like people you would never expect to hop on a fucking mobile game hop on a mobile game. Whereas with Uma Musume Pretty Derby, I've seen so many creators from all sorts of different from all sorts of different like facets of gaming hop on this game because just word of mouth spreads and people are like, oh, so and so said it was good, I gotta check it out. So and so said it was good, I gotta check it out. The way this game is fucking spread is fucking insane. But not only that, I know I have friends personally who play this game. That was the entire reason I picked this game up, was word of mouth. Was because not just the fucking content creators that I saw playing it, but my own friends that I knew personally picking this game up and being like, "Oh my god, it's peak." And then I played it and holy fuck, they're right. Like, genuinely, Uma Musume has incredible stories and incredible character writing for some of these careers. Like, There's so much good going on here. I love this game to death. I play it fucking daily. Right? At least once a day. I gotta get at least one career in. I gotta run my dailies, and I don't mind doing it. I'm having fun. Even when I'm like grinding out for materials, it's like, okay, so I'm still gonna enjoy it. I'm still gonna have a blast. This game is so much fucking fun. And genuinely, it's fairly kind to free to play players as well. I can't comment on any of these other games, but I can say that like even though I'm not a free to play player, even though I'm not a free to play player, I don't invest that much money into it. I really don't, because you truly don't have to. Like, sure, if you want to be topping the leaderboards and topping the leaderboards and fucking owning PvP, like you can, then like yeah, you're gonna have to become a fucking whale to get the best shit. But to genuinely enjoy the game and just play it as it's meant to be played, like no, you can play this game entirely for free and still have an absolute blast with it. I fucking guarantee it. So what do I predict will win? It's gonna be Uma Musume. Where's my vote going? Obviously, it's gonna be Uma Musume. Next up is Best VR/AR Game for the best experience playable in virtual or augmented reality, irrespective of platform. Our nominees are Alien Rogue Incursion, Arcan Age, Ghost Town, Marvel's Deadpool VR, and The Midnight Walk. Now, this is a category I have absolutely no stake in, as I don't own any VR technology. I don't even have the gear necessary to play any of these games. And I'm gonna be honest, four of these I haven't even fucking heard of. I forget where I Deadpool VR was either mentioned either at Summer Games Fest or last year's Game Awards. I forget which, but that's the only place I saw it. I didn't even realize it got released. I didn't even realize it had already come out because I've heard no one talk about it. I've heard no one talk about any of these because I just feel like VR and AR is just such a niche category that not many people are fucking with just because it's extra money to get into these kind of games. Um, so what do I predict will win? I don't fucking know. Genuinely, I don't fucking know. I don't know if maybe one of these games has gotten a lot of love within the VR community and I just don't know about it. Or maybe it is just Marvel's Deadpool because that's the one name I fucking recognize. What am I gonna vote for? Well, I'm sorry, it's gonna be the one fucking title I recognize. Next up is Best Action Game for the best game in the action genre, focused primarily on combat. Our nominees are Battlefield 6, Doom the Dark Ages, Hades 2, Ninja Gaiden 4, and Shinobi Art of Vengeance. Obviously, one of our Game of the Year nominees are here. I'll be honest, I have not heard of Shinobi Art of Vengeance. I know nothing about it, but it's here, so I assume it must be pretty solid. Um, of these games, I've heard of these four, right? Obviously, this one got the Game of the Year nominee. Um, what do I predict will win? More than likely the Game of the Year nominee. Like, it got nominated to Game of the Year. I assume it's got a pretty large following behind it. I've heard good things about Ninja Gaiden 4 and Doom the Dark Ages. Battlefield 6, like I've heard mixed things on, so I don't expect it to win. But I feel like these three you're more likely to see as the winner. This one I predict will probably take it, Hades 2. Um, but me personally, just based on what I've heard, I've had several friends and people I follow online play Doom the Dark Ages and have been very highly praising the actual combat of the game, right? Because that's what action game is focusing on, the combat, the gameplay. And I feel like that's like the key point I've heard about Doom the Dark Ages. Ninja Gaiden 4, while I really haven't heard a lot of things about it, for the few things that I have heard is that it's good, it's solid from what I've heard. I just don't know for sure as I haven't really seen much of it. But while I expect Hades 2 to take it, I feel like either of these two have a chance, and I feel like my personal vote is going to go for Doom, just because that's the one I've actually heard a lot about within my friends and the people I follow. Next up is Best Action Adventure for the best action adventure game combining combat with traversal and puzzle solving. Our nominees are two of our Game of the Year nominees, along with Ghost of Yote, Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, and Split Fiction. As far as predictions, Silk Song's here. I predict it's gonna take it. I did hear good things about Indiana Jones. I've heard good things about Split Fiction. Like I said before, Yote I've kind of heard mixed things on. And Death Stranding 2, honestly, from what I heard, is that the gameplay itself doesn't quite live up to the original. That's kind of like one of the main complaints I've heard about it, is that it's just not near as fun as the original was. Um, but with that being said, yeah, Silk Song's gonna take it. I'm almost sure of that. And honestly, it's probably where I'm gonna cast my vote too, just because this is the one friends have been playing, they've been excited for. It's one the fucking world at large has been excited for. It's probably gonna take it, and I'm going to, add to the crowd that's gonna make it that way. So next up is Best RPG for the best game design with rich player character customization and progression, including massively multiplayer experiences. Our options are two of our Game of the Year nominees, along with Avowed, Monster Hunter Wilds, and The Outer Worlds 2. Now, what do I predict will win? It's Expedition 33's here. Expedition 33 is going to take it. Like I said, I didn't think Kingdom Come Deliverance would be a strong challenger for Expedition 33 when it comes to Game of the Year. I still think that's going to hold true in Best RPG. Avowed, I definitely remember it launching. But honestly, I don't remember what really anyone had to say about it positively or negatively. I feel like that one just really came and went. Monster Hunter Wilds, I saw a lot of love for, specifically within the Monster Hunter community, but they really enjoyed it from what I saw. Outer Worlds 2, I've heard very mixed things about. So I don't think that's going to take it. I feel like the two you should probably expect the two strongest, ones here based on what I've seen online are these two. And I just feel like this one's obviously going to be the one that takes it. And as for my personal vote, obviously this is where I'm going to put it. Next up is Best Fighting Game for the best game design primarily around head-to-head combat. The nominees are 2XKO, Capcom Fighting Collection 2, Fatal Fury City of the Wolves, Mortal Kombat Legacy Collection, and Virtua Fighter 5 Revo World Stage. Now, what a lot of people have pointed out, and what I'll also point out, is that 3 of these games are essentially remasters / repackaging of older games. The only 2 actually original titles on this list are these two, 2XKO and Fatal Fury. What do I predict will win? I think I probably got to give it to 2XKO, quite honestly. I've heard terrible things about Mortal Kombat Legacy Collection. Now, I do like the original games in that are featured in the Legacy Collection, right? But as far as I've heard, the Legacy Collection has a lot of performance issues, which is not what you want in your fighting game. I've heard a lot of not great things about Fatal Fury. People weren't too happy with a lot of it, especially its marketing leading up to it. A lot of people weren't happy with the random ass real life people they included as guest fighters. Capcom Fighting Collection 2, I feel like I didn't really hear anything about. I feel like people were more excited for the Marvel vs. Capcom collections that came out. But as far as Capcom Collection 2 specifically, I just really heard nothing about it as to whether it was good or not. And same with Virtua Fighter 5. I just heard jack shit about it. Like, haven't heard anyone mention it, that it was good or not. It just kind of fell by the wayside from what I understand. So I feel like the strongest one here is 2XKO, even though this is the one so many people were shit talking because it has a very small roster and it's getting overshadowed by other bigger games. It's been in development for too long, so people have moved on to other games. Like, this is the one I've seen people shitting on the most, but like genuinely I feel like it's the one that's got the best shot because like I've seen people play it and they seem to really enjoy it. I personally have no stake in this, right? I've never played League of Legends. I've never watched Arcane. I know nothing about this roster of characters. I'm not tied to this world at all. But like, that's just where I predict it's going to go. And I think it's because of those large fan bases and the fact that the game doesn't completely suck shit that it's probably going to fucking take the title. And honestly, as far as my personal vote goes, like I'm probably gonna vote there too. As much as I don't want to encourage League of Legends players, like that's I feel like that's just the best pick. All right. And next up is Best Family Game. For the best game appropriate for family play, irrespective of genre or platform. The nominees are Game of the Year nominee Donkey Kong Bonanza, along with Lego Party, Lego Voyagers, Mario Kart World, Sonic Racing Cross Worlds, and Split Fiction. What do I predict will win it? Donkey Kong Bonanza, right? And it's not just because it's a Game of the Year nominee. This is a game I genuinely saw a lot of love for. It's that made a lot of waves amongst the community, right? I feel like this one very much is going to take home the cake. For what I've heard of the other games, Lego Party, I've surprisingly seen a lot of love for. You know, it really is just like a Mario Party clone, but it's Lego. But from what I've seen, people really enjoy it. The maps are a lot of fun. There's a lot of really fun mini games with it. I've heard a lot of good things about it. Lego Voyagers, I have never fucking heard of. I have no idea what this is actually. So, highly doubt that has a chance. Mario Kart World, I've heard mixed things about, but primarily good. Sonic Racing Cross Worlds, I've heard a lot of good things about. And Split Fiction, of course, Hazelight, always hear good things about them. But like I said, prediction is Donkey Kong Bonanza. But as far as where I want to cast my personal vote, I don't quite know. I don't just want to go, oh, it's Bonanza. It's the Game of the Year nominee. That's where I go. Um, Genuinely, even though I don't really play their games, I kind of want to vote for Split Fiction just because I like that Hazelight just really does their own thing and they're not afraid to do their own thing. And when they do their own thing, they do it very fucking well, right? I feel like, a lot of these games deserve their flowers for sure, but like, I don't know. I want to show love to Split Fiction. I like Hazelight Studios and what they do. All right, next up is Best Sim slash Strategy Game. Best game focused on real time or turn based simulation or strategy gameplay, irrespective of platform. The nominees are Final Fantasy Tactics, The Ivalice Chronicles, Jurassic World Evolution 3, Sid Meier's Civilization 7, Tempest Rising, The Altars, and Two Point Museum. I'm gonna be honest. I didn't play any of these games and haven't really heard much about these games. Some of these games I haven't even fucking heard of. So I'm gonna be honest, I'm gonna tell you, Tempest Rising, never heard of it. I have no idea what this is. The Altars, never heard of it. Have no idea what this is. Civ 7, I did know existed. I remember it being announced, probably at like one of the probably at one of the game awards. I did not know it had been released. So clearly it wasn't very impressive. Jurassic World Evolution 3, I did hear about, but the only thing I heard about was that they were using AI generated images in their game and they were getting a lot of flack for that. Two Point Museum, I have heard of Two Point Studios. I have seen their games around. I have heard the name Two Point Museum. Um but just I have heard nothing about this game in particular. And then Final Fantasy Tactics, The Ivalice Chronicles. Once again, we're looking at a repackaged game. This is a Final Fantasy Tactics: The Ivalice Chronicles is the updated version of Final Fantasy Tactics: War of the Lions, which is the upgraded version of Final Fantasy Tactics. It's all of the same game, just occasionally they upgrade it, and give it a few more things. Um, Ultimately, what do I predict will win? Probably the one I've heard people talk about and say good things about. I've heard people talk about this one, but they weren't saying good things. I've heard people talk about this game before it launched, and then I heard nothing about it actually launching. I've heard no one talk about any of these games, but genuinely, I've heard people talk about Final Fantasy Tactics, and honestly, it's one I can vouch for because I played War of the Lions back in the day on my PSP. So, like, if there's one I predict will win, it's this one because I've heard people say, "Hey, I played it and it's good." And I can say I haven't played this version specifically, but I've played one of the older versions and it's good. So as far as what I predict will win and as where my personal vote's going to go, it's got to go Final Fantasy Tactics. Our next category is Best Sports slash Racing Game for the best traditional and non-traditional sports and racing games. Nominees are EA Sports FC 26, F1 25, Mario Kart World Rematch, and Sonic Racing Cross Worlds. What do I predict will win? Let's be so fucking for real right now. This is just a showdown between Mario Kart World and Sonic Racing Cross Worlds. When in the best family game genre, like you had Donkey Kong Bonanza and Split Fiction and even Lego Party to an extent offering up like some real competition against these games as to what you would consider the best family game. Um, but let's be clear, best sports racing, these two these two games and their player bases have been fucking warring with each other before either of the games came out, right? Anytime there's even been like the smallest little fucking criticism anyone's had about either game, the opposite fan base then goes, "Oh my god, look, see their game's not as good. It's our game. It's our game, baby." And both fan bases do it. Don't act like you don't. And also like rematch I've never fucking heard of. F125, like I've heard of the F1 series, I guess, but like I know nothing about it. I've heard no one talk about it. I don't care. EA Sports FC, this is for people outside of America, so obviously I've never fucking heard of it and genuinely don't fucking care. Also, as far as these two games are concerned, fuck EA, I don't particularly fucking care. But yeah, even with my bias against EA aside, it's these two. It's these two 110%. These are two games the fucking internet has been absolutely talking about and absolutely loving for the most part. Um, I will say ultimately so pretty much it comes down to Nintendo fans versus non-Nintendo fans, right? And then I guess, the fucking soccer kids are gonna vote for whatever the fuck they vote for. Ultimately, what do I predict will come out on top? That's a tough one to decide. I truly think it's a 50-50 between these two. I feel like this one didn't perform quite as well as it wanted to, and this one has performed just as well as the fan base wanted to. So I feel like they're kind of on equal ground. Genuine like 50-50 between these two. I won't be surprised if either one wins, but it's definitely going to be one of these two. If any of these other three games fucking win, absolutely rigged. But where's my personal vote going? It's going to Sonic Racing Cross Worlds. I'm a sucker. They put Miku in the game, they get my vote. Next up is Best Multiplayer for outstanding online multiplayer gameplay and design, including co-op and massively multiplayer experiences, irrespective of game genre or platform. God damn, I can't fucking talk. Our nominees are Arc Raiders, Battlefield 6, Elden Ring, Night Rain, Peak, and Split Fiction. What do I predict will win? I've heard a lot of good things about Night Rain, honestly. A lot of people were kind of hesitant when they were first talking about it before it released, right? People were kind of hesitant on it, but genuinely, I've seen people pick it up, really enjoy it. I know friends that still play it to this day. Peak was a big one that really hit the streaming community at large. If you had friend groups, that is, right? The streamers with friend groups played Peak, all right? So I'm just saying. But it was a fun casual game that there was a lot of enjoyment to be had. Split Fiction, if you've been watching this video, you've already been hearing me glaze the hell out of Hazelight. Obviously, two-player co-op is a bit different from these other ones, but absolutely deserves the recognition for being a multiplayer game. Battlefield 6, I've heard mixed things about, but sure. I've heard mixed things about, but it's there. Arc Raiders, I've kind of heard mixed things about. Genuinely, I'll say I've heard absolutely nothing about the actual gameplay. I've seen a few clips and whatnot of like a guy rolling around a lot. I don't know. Once again, these really aren't my kind of games, but the biggest thing I've heard about this game is that it's caught a lot of flack for using AI generated voices in its game instead of actually hiring voice actors, which is, very shitty. They can say, "Oh, we got consent to do." I don't give a fuck. I truly don't give a fuck. I don't care for this game in the slightest, and it doesn't help that there've been really fucking annoying streamers that come out in support of this game. Like, they don't support it by hyping it up and calling it good. They've been supporting it by trying to tear down other games. Obviously, the biggest instance of this, I'm sure if you know what I'm talking about, is Shroud, who's been saying like, "Oh, Fuck single player games. It's all about Arc Raiders, baby. Arc Raiders should be at the top of that list. Fuck Expedition 33. It's fucking single player dog shit cinematic slop, all right? Arc Raiders is where it's at, baby. But that's the thing, is all he says is like Arc Raiders is good. But I like, where's he gonna tell me about what's good about it? Other than, oh, it's a bang bang shooty game. Like, I genuinely don't care. If the only way you're hyping up your game is by tearing down other games, I couldn't give a fuck less. So what do I truly predict will win? I'm not quite sure. Hazelight Studios carries a lot of weight, right? They got a very strong fan base behind them. Hell, me as someone who doesn't even play their games, I'm a fan of the studio. I won't consider myself a fan of the games because I just don't play them. Actually, that's not true. I did play Brothers back in the day because that one you could actually play solo. I'm a big fan of the studio and what they do. Elden Ring Night Ring, I will say, got a lot of love. I still think ultimately, going just based on the vibes I've gotten from people online, I feel like more than likely your big winner is going to be Split Fiction. Now, Night Rain might come out of nowhere and take it, but I feel like that's the only other one that's really challenging Split Fiction here. Maybe I'm glazing Hazelight a bit too much, but I know that Hazelight and their games have won Game of the Year before, right? So I know it's not just mindless glazing. They make great shit. And I've heard nothing but good about Split Fiction. I think this is going to be your winner. I do. But I do think there is a small chance that Night Rain comes out from behind. Just because I've heard good things about it. Peak, I've heard good things about, but I just don't think it's competing with these two. I think Split Fiction's going to be your winner. And as I'm sure you're all very surprised, that's also where I'm going to put my vote. All right, our next category is Best Adaptation, recognizing outstanding creative work that faithfully and authentically adapts a video game to another entertainment medium. And our nominees are a Minecraft movie, Devil May Cry, Splinter Cell, Death Watch, The Last of Us Season 2, and Until Dawn. Now, this category has been getting a little discourse online because people are very pissed that Sonic the Hedgehog 3 got snubbed from the nominations, which, looking at what has been nominated, I 110% agree. The third Sonic movie got so much love when it dropped. So much love. People loved it. They might add a few nitpicks here and there, but so many Sonic fans were like, yes, this is amazing. All right. A Minecraft movie, yes, I understand why it's here. It was a viral sensation, sure. It wasn't a good movie. Remember, look at our description here. Work that faithfully and authentically adapts a video game. It's not good at that. It didn't do it well. It's not a good movie. It's not good. It's funny. There's memes, right? Oh, chicken jockey, ha ha ha. But like, it's not a good movie. And then there's the Devil May Cry anime, which the majority of Devil May Cry fans have come out and said, hey, this sucks ass. What is this dog shit? This is supposed to be Devil May Cry. What are we doing here? And then there's The Last of Us Season 2, which The Last of Us HBO series has just been, I'd say this one probably mostly hits the faithfully and authentically adapts a video game because it's pretty much one-to-one of the original game of the games. And the reason this one is catching smoke is for the same reason Season 2 got the actual second game caught smoke, so whatever. I'm not really too concerned about that one. And then the Until Dawn movie, I didn't even realize had actually come out. I had heard about it. I knew it was a thing that was happening. I genuinely didn't even know this had come out. But then from what I've seen from people's reactions online, it sucks. It's not good, which is very understandable. And then Splinter Cell Death Watch, I've never even heard of. I didn't even know this existed until now. Honestly, I'm half tempted to vote for this one because it's the only one that isn't a huge piece of shit from what I understand. But with that all being said, what do I predict will win this category? It's either going to be a Minecraft movie because big viral sensation that had the funny memes, or more than likely The Last of Us Season 2, which just truly faithfully adapted a video game, right? Like, if we're talking like what actually did well, like sure, a lot of people are like, oh no, I can't believe Abby did that. Oh, why did she do that? But the fact that they're complaining about, oh, why did Abby do that? Like, I don't know. That pretty faithfully adapts the game because that's what players were saying fucking 5 years ago, you know? So I feel like that one still kind of checks out. But these two in particular, very big pieces of shit that I don't expect to win anything. This I've heard zero people talking about. I don't expect it to win anything. I feel like these are your two that are actually have a chance of winning something. And my personal prediction is probably going to be this one because haha funny memes. I hope to God it's this one because I feel like out of the entire list, it's most deserving. I don't think it's most deserving adaptation out there. We all know what that would be, but out of this list, it's got to be this one. That's where my personal vote's going to go, though like I said, I highly predict it's Minecraft movie. And next up is most anticipated game, nominees being 007 First Light, Grand Theft Auto 6, Marvel's Wolverine, Resident Evil Requiem, and The Witcher 4. As far as what I predict will win, it's going to be Grand Theft Auto 6. Of course, it's going to be Grand Theft Auto 6. Even with the stuff that's come out recently about Rockstar, I doubt that's gonna affect them from taking home most anticipated game again. I highly fucking doubt it. Fully predict this to win it. I will say 007 First Light. I don't know. I'm not that interested in it, me personally, but I've definitely heard some buzz about it. But these three here, Marvel's Wolverine, heard a lot of people are excited for. I also am. The Witcher 4, a lot of people are excited for, and I myself am as well. And Resident Evil Requiem, while I'm not the biggest Resident Evil fan, I definitely know a lot of people are very excited for it. And honestly, I kind of am too because I've watched playthroughs of 7 and 8. So like I'm kind of interested to see where 9 goes with it, I'm not going to lie. I know 9 isn't necessarily going to keep up with Ethan's story, especially after what happened to Ethan, but I'm still kind of excited to watch certain creators playthroughs of this game because like I don't know I enjoy Resident Evil is one of those games where it's like I don't really fuck with horror games, but man, I definitely enjoy the playthroughs of them, and just by watching the playthroughs I understand why they're so beloved. But like I said, preferred prediction or not preferred prediction is Grand Theft Auto 6 takes it. But as far as my personal most anticipated game, it's definitely gotta go between Marvel's Wolverine and The Witcher 4. I absolutely loved The Witcher 3. It was phenomenal, and I'm very excited to play a game with Ciri as the protagonist. That seems like so much fun. But also Marvel's Wolverine. I've always been a pretty big fan of Wolverine. I'm very excited to see what Insomniac does with it, just what we've seen from the trailer. I'm very excited for. So this is actually a pretty difficult choice for me. I don't know. I really don't know. Okay, so let's look at their little descriptor here. Recognize an announced game that has demonstrably illustrated potential to push the gaming medium forward. Which of these do I feel is like gonna make bigger waves and I don't know, push the gaming medium forward is just really a lot of buzzwords for sure. But like which of these do I think has the potential to make the biggest waves of the two of them? It's probably going to be The Witcher 4. I feel like The Witcher 4 is what really is going to like has the potential anyway, right? All we've seen so far is a cinematic, right? Is a cinematic trailer. But what has the potential, the real potential, like Marvel's Wolverine, I'm sure is going to be fun. I'm sure I'm going to have a blast with it. But I think that's all it's really going to be is just fun, right? It's not going to be something that really makes big moves like I feel like The Witcher 4 will. So I think that's where I'm going to cast my personal vote there. Oh my god. Okay. Next up is Content Creator of the Year. For a streamer, content creator who has made an important and positive impact on the community in 2025. Our nominees are Kadrel, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, Kai Cenat, Moist Critical, Sakura Miko, and The Burnt Peanut. Um, this is definitely an interesting lineup. I'm gonna be honest. I don't know who Kadrel here is. Judging by like the headset and like the kind of chair he's wearing, he looks like he plays esports. Yeah, like one of them esports, like League or Valorant, something like that. He does something like that. Is my prediction. The burnt peanut here. I don't know who you are, but damn, your face there is definitely making an impression. I'll say that much. Holy shit. And then these three in the middle, I definitely know. Kai Cenat, I'm definitely aware of. He's definitely a very big name with a very large following. Moist Critical, I definitely know. And Sakura Miko, I mean, obviously, I have this whole thing going on, so shouldn't surprise anyone that I know who she is. Who do I expect to win it? That's genuinely a tough question. Because if I'm not mistaken, didn't Pekora win it last year? If I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure she did. Or at least she was. I know Pekora was nominated last year, but I'm almost certain she won it, which makes me think that Miko definitely has a shot. And I know VTuber fans are very avid, right? Especially with the Hololive talent up there. Like, the Hololive fans definitely move as a mob, so like I wouldn't be surprised if they could definitely make some motion for her. Kai Cenat also having a very large and very active following. Obviously Charlie here definitely has a large following as well. And I'm sure they definitely go to bat for him for sure. Does he have quite the following to compete with Hololive and Kai Cenat? That's a pretty big ask. Um, but I think it's definitely going to be one of these three for sure. Who do I predict's going to win it? Like I said, I think these two have the higher shots just on who they're on the size of their fan bases. If I had to choose between one of them, I'd predict and hope that it's Miko. I think she's great. I think when we look at important and positive impact, those are the key. That's the key word I want to look at here. Positive impact. I feel like Miko definitely brings a lot of, has definitely made quite the positive impact. I would argue that Charlie has made a positive impact. And when they say the community, right, I would like to think that means the gaming community, as this is the Game Awards. Whereas Kai Cenat, sure, he's a big name. He's done a lot of big things. And like he has done gaming stuff. I'm not going to deny him that. He's had some big gaming moments, but I wouldn't really say he's made an important impact in the gaming community. And honestly, I feel like recently he keeps doing things that people kind of look at him and go like, "Oh God, why'd you do that, bud?" He hasn't done like full on like awful shit where people are like, "You guys have to stop fucking supporting this guy." But he's done like a lot of things where it's like he's done a lot of questionable shit where you just kind of like eyeball him like, "I don't know, man. I don't know. You kind of moving weird lately." Whereas I don't know, Charlie's just a chill dude. And I feel like within the gaming community specifically, like he's always covered gaming in his videos. He's not his main channel isn't solely dedicated to gaming, but it's definitely been a huge chunk of what he covers. He's always been a part of the gaming community. He has an esports team that he manages. He recently launched his own channel solely for gaming, right? And even this year, he even had a voice acting role in a video game, one of the nominees we saw earlier for debut indie with Dispatch. So I don't know. I feel like if we're talking about someone who's making an important and positive impact in the gaming community specifically, my personal vote's got to go to Charlie. And like, sure, yeah, he's out of the five here. Two of these two I actually follow, and Charlie I actually keep up with the most. So maybe it's biased, but I don't know. Sure, he's not doing big marathon streams of Elden Ring dressed up in armor and whatnot, but I feel like what he does, even though his videos and streams aren't as extravagant, still makes an important and positive impact in the gaming community as a whole. So, prediction, I hope it's Miko. I think there's definitely a good chance it's Kai Cenat. But my personal vote, and there's a chance, fingers crossed, goes to Charlie. Okay, so now we're really getting into the categories I fucking do not care about in the slightest. I'll be fully upfront and honest about that. We're getting into the esports categories. I don't follow esports in the slightest. I don't really care. But I suppose I'll fucking throw my hat in the ring because I want to do all 29 votes because I just like completing shit. So our nominees are Counter-Strike 2, Dota 2, League of Legends, Mobile Legends Bang Bang, and Valorant. What do I predict will win? It's probably League. All right. It's probably League. When it comes to esports, League pretty much dominates anything that happens. So I fully expect it's League. Maybe it's Counter-Strike, but I fully expect League. As for what I'm voting for, I'm gonna vote for Mobile Legends Bang Bang just because I feel like that name is really stupid and I want to vote for it. I don't care about esports, so I'm gonna vote for the one with the funniest name. I feel like it would be the funniest for whoever the presenter is to announce it. And the winner for best esports game is Mobile Legends Bang Bang. Like, tell me that wouldn't be fucking hilarious to hear someone say out loud. Next up is best esports athlete. And our nominations are Brock, Chavi, Forsaken, Kakeru, Menard, and Zaiwu. I'm gonna be honest. I know what you're thinking. Who do I expect to win this? It's probably a League of Legends guy. It's probably Chovy here, Mr. Jung Ji Hoon. All right, he's League of Legends. He's probably gonna win. All right, that's just how it goes. As for who I'm gonna vote for, I will say there is one single username I recognize here, and that's this guy. I don't know if I pronounced his name correctly. I know like he has very I think like the RD is capitalized, so I don't know if I'm supposed to say Mena RD or if it's Menard or whatever, however it's pronounced. I haven't heard it pronounced, but the thing is I've seen a lot of my friends talk about it because I have several friends who are into fighting games. So therefore, Street Fighter people who played Street Fighter, there's a chance I actually recognize one of y'all, and it's this guy. I recognize who you are, so you get the vote, bud. Congratulations. Hope you win. And the last category for the Game Awards, Best Esports Team, we have Genji, NRG, Team Falcons, Team Liquid PH, and Team Vitality. You know, I know absolutely none of them. I don't recognize any of these names in the slightest. My prediction, it's going to be the League guys. I don't know. I'm guessing League guys cuz the League people really turn up for their fucking community. Who am I going to vote for? You know I'm voting for Team Liquid PH because they're representing Mobile Legends Bang Bang, obviously. All right, so that is going to do it for my predictions and picks for the Game Awards 2025. Obviously, there's still going to be Player's Voice coming out in December. So, all y'all looking forward to that. Pay attention. December 1st, 4th, and 8th. Keep your eyes peeled. Go vote. This is where your vote really matters, people. Go vote. No, but for real, I'll definitely be looking forward to that. But yeah, with that being said, that's going to do it for this video. Obviously, as you can tell, I had a lot of love for Expedition 33. Um, as for anything I felt that got snubbed or should have been different, honestly, not really. If anything, I'd say for the best family game, I probably would have pulled whatever that fucking Legos Voyager game was and threw in Pokemon Legends ZA just because I've had a lot of fun with it. And as with any game, there's definitely a community that doesn't like it, especially since it kind of deviates from the norm of Pokemon. But I've had a lot of love with. I've thoroughly enjoyed it, and I feel like it kind of deserved a spot. Who knows? Maybe we'll see it advance through player's voice. I doubt it. I don't think it quite had that much motion, but maybe we'll see it. I don't know. Outside of that, I mean, personally, I would have liked to see Lost Records get more nominations because that was a phenomenal fucking game. But I'm glad it at least got one with Games for Impact. Though, like I said, more would have been nice. I really hope more people give it a chance, check it out because I think it's really fucking good. Outside of that, I don't think there's anything else I've played recently to where I'm like, yeah, to where I feel like it deserves a spot over anything else that got nominated. I feel like everything that's up here just really makes sense. A lot of the nominations really solid, really makes sense. But yeah, honestly, I just expect a lot of these nominations to come down to either Expedition 33 or Silk Song. And anything that's not in a category with Expedition 33 and Silk Song, well, consider yourself lucky because I feel like that's going to take whatever category it's in. But yeah, that's going to do it for this video. So thank you to anyone watching. Much appreciated. And hopefully I'll see y'all in the next one. Till then, peace. Fix your website, Keely. Fix your website, Keely. Keely, fix your website. Please, I am almost through all the categories, Keely. Fix your website. Keely, the website. Keely, please fix the website. Keely, darling, if you would please fix the website, that'd be very cool. Keely, why do you not fix the website? Oh, Keely. Keely, please, the website. Keely. Keely, the website. Keely. Fine, Keely, I suppose I'll check my emails. You know, my emails are notoriously long for loading as well. Oh, look at that. They loaded a lot faster. Oh, Sony Electronics holiday deals. Keely, are you seeing this? No, you're not, because I'm censoring it. I'm not going to show you my emails, Keely. But you know what you can show me? Is the next page. No? Okay. Fuck you too, Keely. Oh, look at this. Several games on my wish list are on sale. Do you hear that, Keely? Speaking of games, mayhaps you will let me vote? Fuck you, Keely. Oh, look at Amazon.com sent me an email. New deals just dropped. You know what else I would like to drop? This fucking website, Keely. It's really dropping the ball, I'll say that much. You fuck.